Section 68 of The Toilers of the Sea, by Victor Hugo. This recording is in the public domain, read by John Greenman. Chapter 5 Sub Umbra. Sometimes at night Gilliatt opened his eyes and looked at the darkness. He felt himself strangely moved. His eyes opened upon blackness, a lugubrious situation full of anxiety. There is such a thing as the pressure of the gloom, an indescribable roof of shadows, a deep obscurity inaccessible to the diver, light mingled with that obscurity, an indescribably subdued and somber light, brightness reduced to powder. Is it seed? Is it ashes? Millions of torches, no illumination, a vast ignition which does not reveal its secret, a diffusion of fire in dust which seems a flight of sparks stopped in their career, the disorder of the whirlwind, and the immobility of the sepulchre, the problem presenting the opening of a precipice, the enigma showing yet concealing its face, the infinite masked with blackness. Such is night. This superposition weighs heavily on man. This amalgamation of all mysteries at once, of the cosmic mystery as well as the mystery of fate, overwhelms the human head. The pressure of the gloom acts in inverse sense on different sorts of souls. Man, in the presence of night, recognizes himself as incomplete. He beholds the obscurity and is conscious of his weakness. In the pressure of the night man is blind. Man, face to face with night, struggles, kneels, prostrates himself, lies prone, crawls towards a hole, or seeks wings for himself. Almost always he desires to flee from that shapeless presence of the unknown. He asks himself what it is. He trembles. He bends. He ignores. Sometimes also he desires to go towards it. To go whither? Yonder. Yonder? What is that? And what is there? This curiosity is evidently that of things forbidden, for on this side all the bridges around man are broken. The arch of the infinite is lacking, but the forbidden, being a gulf, attracts. Where the foot cannot tread, the eye can reach. Where the eye cannot penetrate, the mind can soar. There is no man, however feeble and insufficient he may be, who does not make the attempt. Man, according to his nature, is searching or at a standstill in the presence of night. For one sort it is a repression, for the other an expansion. The spectacle is gloomy, the indefinable is mingled with it. Is the night serene? There is a background of gloom. Is it stormy? There is a background of vapor. The illimitable refuses itself, and offers itself at one and the same time, closed to experiment, open to conjecture. Innumerable punctures of light render the bottomless obscurity more black. Carbuncles, scintillations, stars, presences in the unknown revealed, frightful challenges to approach and touch that brightness. They are the landmarks of creation in the absolute. They are milestones where there are no longer distances. They are some impossible yet real system of numbering the fathoms of the infinite depths. A microscopic point which shines out, then another, then another, then another. It is the imperceptible, it is the enormous. This light is a hearth. This hearth is a star. This star is a sun. This sun is a universe. This universe is nothing. Every number is zero in the presence of the infinite. These universes, which yet are nothing, exist. On realizing their existence, one feels the difference between being nothing and not being at all. The inaccessible added to the inexplicable, such is the sky. From this contemplation a sublime phenomenon is given forth, the enlargement of the soul through awe. The sacred terror is peculiar to man, the beast knows not this fear. Intelligence finds both its eclipse and its proof in this august terror. The shadow is a unity, hence the awe. At the same time it is complex, hence terror. Its unity masses itself in our spirit and takes away the desire of resistance. Its complexity causes one to gaze on all sides. It seems as though one had to fear sudden attacks. One surrenders, and yet is on his guard. One is in the presence of all, hence submission, and of many, hence distrust. The unity of the darkness contains a multiple, a mysterious multiple, visible in matter, apparent to the thought. This makes silence another reason for being on the watch. Night, he who writes this has said the same thing elsewhere, is the peculiar and normal state of the special creation of which we form a part. The day, brief in duration as in space, is, relatively, only the distance of a star. The universal miracle of night is not accomplished without friction, and all frictions of such a machine are contusions to life. The friction of the machine is what we call evil. We feel in this obscurity evil, a latent contradiction to the divine order, a virtual blasphemy of the fact, rebellious to the ideal. Evil complicates the vast cosmic whole with some thousand-headed monstrosity. Evil is everywhere present for the purpose of protesting. It is hurricane, and it torments the progress of a ship. It is chaos, and it hinders the blossoming forth of a world. Good has unity, evil has ubiquity. Evil confuses life, which is logic. It causes the fly to be devoured by the bird, and the planet by the comet. Evil is an erasure on creation. The nocturnal obscurity is full of vertigo. Any one who sounds it sinks into it and struggles there. There is no fatigue to be compared to this examination of the shadows. It is the study of an obliteration. There is no definite point where the mind can rest. There are points of departure, no points of arrival. The interlacing of contradictory solutions, all the branchings of doubt presented at the same moment, the ramifications of phenomena exfoliating without limit beneath an indefinite impulse, all laws pouring into each other, a fathomless promiscuousness which causes mineralization to vegetate, vegetation to live, thought to weigh, love to radiate, and gravitation to love. The immense attacking front of all questions developing itself in the limitless obscurity. The half perceived making a rough sketch of the unknown. A cosmic simultaneousness in full view, not to the gaze, but to the intelligence in vast, indistinct space. The invisible become a vision. This is the shadow. Man is beneath it. He knows not the details, but he bears, in a quantity proportioned to his mind, the monstrous weight of the whole. This obsession drove the Chaldean shepherds to astronomy. Involuntary revelations proceed from the pores of creation. An exudation of science takes place in a manner of its own accord, and runs over the ignorant man. Every solitary man beneath this mysterious impregnation becomes, often without himself being aware of it, a natural philosopher. Obscurity is indivisible. It is inhabited. Inhabited without displacement by the absolute, inhabited also with displacement. One moves in it, a disturbing thing. A sacred formation accomplishes its phrases there. Premeditations, powers, voluntary destinies, these elaborate in common a vast work. A terrible and horrible life lies within it. There are vast evolutions of stars, the stellar family, the planetary family, the zodiacal pollen, the quid divinum of currents, of the effluvia of polarizations and attractions. There is union and antagonism, a magnificent ebb and flow of universal antitheses, the imponderable set at liberty in the midst of centers. There is sap in the globes, light outside of the globes, the wandering atom, the scattered germ, curves of fecundation, encounters of coupling and of combat, unprecedented profusions, distances which resemble dreams, dizzy circulations, worlds driven into the incalculable, prodigies pursuing each other in the gloom, one mechanism, once for all, breathing spheres in flight, wheels which one feels turning. The learned man conjectures, the ignorant man consents and trembles. This is, and it hides itself. It is impregnable. It is out of reach. It is beyond reach. One is convinced even to oppression. Man is confronted by some strange dark evidence. One cannot grasp anything. One is crushed by the impalpable. Everywhere the incomprehensible, nowhere the unintelligible. And add to this the formidable question, is this immanence a being? One is beneath the shadow, one gazes, one listens. Meanwhile the somber earth advances and rolls on. The flowers are conscious of this enormous movement. The catch-fly opens at 11 o'clock at night, and the Emerocalus at 5 in the morning, striking regularly. In the other depths the drop of water becomes a world. The infusoria swarms. Giant fecundity springs from the animalcules. The imperceptible displays its grandeur. The inverse sense of immensity manifests itself. A single diatom in the space of 1 hour produces 1,300 million diatoms. What a propounding of all riddles simultaneously! The irreducible is there. One is constrained to faith. Belief by force, such is the result. But it is not enough to have faith in order to be tranquil. Faith feels a singular and indescribable need of form. Hence religions. Nothing is so oppressive as a belief without outline. Whatever one may think, whatever one may wish, whatever resistance one may have within oneself, to look at the darkness is not to look, but to contemplate. What is to be done with these phenomena? How is one to move under their convergence? To resolve this pressure into its simple components is impossible. What reverie is one to adjust to all these mysterious circumstances? What abstruse, simultaneous, stammering revelations, rendered obscure by their very mass, a sort of lisping of the word. The darkness is a silence, but this silence says everything. One resultant majestically springs forth, God. God is the incompressible idea in man. Syllogisms, differences, negations, systems, religions pass over it without diminishing it. This idea darkness affirms in its entirety. Formidable immanence. The formidable agreement of forces is manifested by the maintenance of all this obscurity in equilibrium. The universe hangs suspended, nothing falls. Incessant and tremendous displacement goes on without accident and without fracture. Man participates in this movement of translation, and the amount of oscillation which he undergoes he calls destiny. Where does destiny begin? Where does nature end? What difference is there between an event and a season, between a grief and a shower, between a virtue and a star? Is not an hour a wave? The wheelwork continues without replying to man. its impassive revolutions. The starry heaven is a vision of wheels, balances, and counterpoises. It is supreme contemplation, reinforced by supreme meditation. It is the whole of reality, plus the whole of abstraction. There is nothing beyond it. One feels one's self caught, and is at the mercy of that shadow. No escape is possible. One sees that one is in the gearing, and is an integral part of an unknown whole. One feels the unknown within fraternizing mysteriously with an unknown outside of one. This is the sublime announcement of death. What anguish, and at the same time what rapture! To adhere to the infinite, to be led by that adherence to attribute to oneself a necessary immortality, who knows? A possible eternity, to feel in that prodigious surge of the deluge of universal life the insubmergible persistency of the ego, to gaze at the stars and to say, I am a soul like you, to gaze at the darkness and say, I am an abyss like thee. These immensities constitute night. All this, intensified by solitude, weighed upon Gilliatt. Did he understand it? No. Did he feel it? Yes. Gilliatt was a great disturbed intellect and a great untutored heart. End of chapter 5, Sub Umbra.